Okay, welcome. Thanks everybody coming during this weather situation. The weather's cooperated with us this year just like it did last year. This is the 30th annual Memorial Day ceremony at Black Mountain State Veterans Cemetery. My name is Allan Perkal. I'm the chair of Buncombe County Veterans Council. Today we pay tribute to those who have fallen in service to our country. We are honored to have veterans from all branches of the United States Armed Forces and their families who are here today. I would like now to recognize any Gold Star family members that are in attendance. Could you please stand? We want to thank Phil Davenport and the crew at Black Mountain for hosting this ceremony and maintaining this sacred ground. I want to remind you that thank you. There's still room at the inn here. I want to remind you that part of a national moment of remembrance, and as a way we can all help put the memorial back in Memorial Day, please pause at 3 p.m. for a moment of silence to remember and honor those who have died in service to our country. As we honor our flag today, please remember the flag does not fly because the wind moves it. It flies with the last breath of each soldier who died protecting it. Freedom is not free. Also, on this Memorial Day, we'd like to recognize those who lost their lives during Hurricane Helene and the community that continues to rebuild and heal from this traumatic event. Our hearts, our prayers are with you. Western North Carolina is resilient and is coming back strong. I would like to introduce Emiliano, Enea, United States Army, Iraq, and Afghanistan, who will do the invocation. Emiliano.
Hello, and thank you for coming. You can follow along in the program. Among the rest who gave their best. As they lower me into my grave, let not a tear be shed. I fought to keep my country free, and now, my Lord, I'm going to see, for just my body's dead. As they fold the flag and fire the shots, let no emotion show. Stand firm and brave beside my grave, and listen as the bugle blows. Weep not for me as you walk away. Turn not for one last look. As the haunting strain of taps remain, press a kiss upon your holy book. The men will softly turn the soil as I wing away with God. The diggers will refill the pit, still signs of death retract from it, and replace the torn sod. As years go by and memories fade, my stone shall stand erect, among the rest who gave their best, our freedom to protect.
Thank you, Emiliano. The presentation of colors today will be by the American Legion Post 317, Marshall, North Carolina. The national anthem will be sung by Bradley Parker, United States Marine Corps, former Commandant, Asheville Marine Corps League Detachment 1417. And that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, Ted Minnick, United States Army, Vietnam. Please present colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please join me in saying our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first speaker today is James Dudley, Acting Executive Director, Charles George VA Medical Center. Thank you, Director Dudley, for taking care of those who have served their country during peacetime and war. You got to keep us alive because we got a lot of work to do. Director Dudley.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jim Dudley. I'm honored to be here with you today. I'm serving as the Acting Executive Director through Western North Carolina VA Medical Center, and it's my privilege to be here. While Ms. Young is the Medical Center Director, she is actually on a detail assignment into our regional office in Vision 22 out in California. As I mentioned, I am truly honored to be here and represent her and take care of our veterans of Western North Carolina. We gather here because we recognize that veterans' dedication to service extends beyond their time in uniform. From defending our freedoms to serving our communities, veterans embody the values that make our nation strong. The sacrifices often unite the ultimate sacrifice, protecting the rights and liberties we hold dear. While these words may sound familiar, it is truly important that we pause and reflect on the profound sacrifice. Today we honor those who have given their lives in all of America's wars. But let us also ask ourselves, how are we honoring those veterans who are still with us, who continue to shape and protect our country? Many veterans remain in service enduring long separations from their families. Others face physical and mental challenges because of their service. Their sacrifices ensure that we can enjoy our freedoms every day. It is not enough just to wait until they are gone to show our gratitude. We must honor and support the veterans while they are still with us here. One of the easiest ways to show support for veterans is to show a sincere and say a sincere thank you. The veteran population includes people from all backgrounds and service areas such as World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Gulf War, and post 9/11 periods. Veterans may be older adults or as young as 20 years old. They are members of a community who have served in the military, and their contributions deserve our respect and gratitude. Another meaningful way to show support to veterans is through volunteering. You honor those who have dedicated theirs to our country. If you're interested in making a real difference in the lives of veterans but aren't sure where to begin, the Department of Veterans Affairs is a great place to go. The VA Center for Development and Civic Engagement integrates volunteers into the operations, allowing them to supplement the care and services to provided for America's veterans, their families, and their caregivers. Last fiscal year alone, the veteran volunteers across the nation contributed an impressive 3,839,298 hours of service. And here in Western North Carolina, we are proud that we have 115 volunteers who have collectively dedicated 62,411 hours of serving our veterans. That is amazing. We recently held a recognition ceremony to honor those volunteers for their outstanding dedication and service. Volunteering with the VA or a local veteran organization is a powerful way to give back and ensure veterans feel valued and supported in our community. Lastly, connecting veterans to resources is a powerful way to support their well-being and successful reintegration into civilian life. Whether you come across a nonprofit organization like Veterans Healing Farm, Heart Horse Sense, or information from the VA, please help spread the word. Social media is an incredibly effective tool. Even if you're unable to participate in the event, simply checking the share button can make a meaningful difference. Similarly, you can connect veterans to the resources through the word of mouth. Sometimes this method works best because people tend to trust recommendations from friends, families, and colleagues. As I mentioned during my introduction, I am actually from the Richmond VA Medical Center, covering while Mrs. Young is away. And I remember reading the story back in December, before my arrival here in January. The story was published by the North Carolina Health News System entitled Good Neighbors Supporting Veterans, Caregivers in Western North Carolina Post-Helene. The article tells the story of John David Large, who became a veteran's father's caregiver, and how his neighbor, Kristen Barlow, connected the family to essential VA resources and support programs. It also highlights the dedication of Western North Carolina VA staff, who, despite facing their own hardships, worked tirelessly to process applications, assist veterans and their caregivers, and ultimately, the story demonstrates the word of mouth that can lead to meaningful support for veterans. Before I conclude, I would like to announce that on June 27th, the Veterans Healing Farm will be hosting a telehealth review and digital skills training. Our VA staff will be participating to address telehealth and provide valuable resources and support. We also have upcoming veteran town halls, so be sure to visit our Facebook page at Asheville VAMC and share. Please help share that information along to others. Those valuable resources make a difference to them. Every one of us has the power to make a difference, whether through heartfelt thank you, volunteering your time, or simply sharing information. Let us continue to stand together as a community that not only remembers, but actively supports those who have given so much for our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Dudley. Do you hear me back there? No? I think this is the highest volume it goes. That's it. I'm sorry. We'll have to, I don't know if I can talk louder. Okay. We are honored today to have as our keynote speaker the Honorable Jocelyn Millett, the Secretary of North Carolina Department of Military and Veteran Affairs. Secretary Millett is an attorney and Air Force veteran, graduating from the U.S. Air Force Academy and serving on active duty for 10 years. She comes from a family of veterans who have served our country. Ladies and gentlemen, Secretary Millett.
Thank you for that introduction, Chairman Perkal, and good morning, everyone. I am honored to serve in the Governor's Cabinet as your Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, and it is a privilege to bring greetings on behalf of Governor Josh Stein and my entire department. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here this morning in the beautiful and stunning town of Black Mountain. This view reminds us just how much God must love us to provide this majestic place. I want to thank Phil Davenport and my entire team here at the Western Carolina State Veterans Cemetery. Thank you to the Veterans Council. Your tireless work for and passionate dedication to our veterans and their families are greatly appreciated. To the brothers and sisters like these Veteran Writing Group, I am eager for you all to share your talent with us later this morning. And I'm so grateful that your group exists as a space for veterans to find healing through the arts. To my colleagues and friends at the Charles George VA Medical Center and to the entire city of Asheville, thank you for supporting our military, veterans, and their families every day. And especially thank you for your support of today's event. And while I've thanked their respective organizations broadly, I cannot help but give a special shout out to Allan Perkal, Emiliano Enea, Craig Holbert, and Jeremy Hughes. You all are my Western North Carolina go-to people when it comes to anything related to military, veterans, and their families. Together, you all form a mighty bridge connecting our Western North Carolina veterans to the benefits and resources they've earned. To the members of our armed forces and the veterans who are here today, I am humbled by this privilege to share this Memorial Day with you. To the families of the fallen, there is no tribute, no commemoration, no praise that can ever match the magnitude of your service and sacrifice. And we all know that when a person serves, their entire family serves too. So please accept my simple words of thank you as only a portion of the gratitude I could ever express for your support and love for your fallen service member and for the United States. So today has a special meaning for me and is a point of honor for me because of who I am. I am the proud granddaughter of a Vietnam veteran and Purple Heart recipient who served for 26 years in the United States Army and retired as a first sergeant. I am the proud daughter of an Air Force colonel who served for 30 years. And I served on active duty for 10 years after graduating from the United States Air Force Academy. So not only am I a third-generation military service member, but I stand before you with a combined family history of 153 years of military service to this great nation. And because of my family heritage, I'm extremely grateful to stand here today to recognize and pay homage to the lives of all the service members who are resting here in Black Mountain and at their final resting places all around the world. We owe them a debt that can never be repaid, and a responsibility to them that I carry every day. To paraphrase an iconic quotation by President John F. Kennedy, a nation reveals itself not only by the men and women it produces, but also by the men and women it honors, the men and women it remembers. You see, President Kennedy's reminder still holds true today. He knew that our nation's values are not reflected by our achievements alone, but also by whom we choose to celebrate and remember. So today we remember our brothers and sisters in arms. And whether you knew them personally or not, each of them was a fellow American, dedicated to serving our nation and each other. The original iteration of this day, Decoration Day, was first celebrated in 1868, when families of Civil War veterans decorated the graves of soldiers, over 500,000 in number, who perished in a bitter war in our nation's history. And although it's been celebrated for 157 years, it wasn't until 1971 that Memorial Day became a national holiday. With the passage of time, and while other wars have been waged and other battles fought, the full weight of this day of solemn remembrance has tended to fade for some. For many Americans, Memorial Day signifies the start of summer, the end of school, the coming of the 4th of July. For many Americans, this weekend has consisted of fun in the sun and barbecues with friends and family. But we must remember that this Memorial Day weekend would not exist without the courageous efforts and heavy price paid by the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, Marines, and Guardians that we honor here today. These lovely traditional Memorial Day weekend activities celebrate a season and a way of life that could not exist without the tremendous and valiant sacrifices of those who have served in defense of our freedom and liberty. Throughout our history, this country, this great state of North Carolina, and the values and principles for which they each stand have been strengthened by the dedication of the men and women in service to these ideals. Because to them, patriotism didn't need to be shouted loudly with words. It was demonstrated profoundly by action. Or in the words of my 92-year-old grandma, I can show you better than I can tell you. The selfless women and men of our nation's military have exhibited patriotism as an action. They transformed it from a noun to a verb. They lived and defined the meaning of patriotism in ways that impact us today and that will impact generations to come. Whether they were called up in times of war or signed up in times of peace, or even served in the segregated armed forces like my grandfather, they embody the very best of this nation and the best of us. Our nation endures and stands tall against tyranny, terror, and autocracy because it is home to men and women who are willing to give their all and lay down their very lives to preserve and protect this land we so dearly love. Each one of us is here today, in part, thanks to the efforts and sacrifices of those who came before us. Not only the freedom and security we enjoy as a nation, but also the very hopes and dreams that are our living testament to their honorable service and sacrifice. Through it, they have given us all an opportunity to carry the torch of freedom forward and to look after each other. As I reflect on the concept of looking after each other, I recall that the greatest responsibilities of my life have derived from my roles as a wife, as a mother, and as a former Air Force intelligence officer. The greatest responsibilities of my life thus far have been to take care of my family and to prepare pilots for missions into hostile areas and to equip them with the information they needed so they could safely return to our home base. As long as I live, I carry with me the weight of these responsibilities. I'm thankful that no airmen were lost during my missions, but there were others, many of the people I'd come to love and call my family, that didn't make it back for missions. Like First Lieutenant Rosalind Schulte, who became the first female Air Force Academy graduate to be killed by enemy forces in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. Roz, as we called her, was my teammate on the Air Force Academy lacrosse team, and like me, was an intelligence officer. So in other ways, I carry the weight of leadership, the thoughts of those airmen lost, and the grief of the loved ones left behind. My brothers and sisters, rest in peace. You have not been forgotten. The cost of war is not only counted in terms of lives lost, but also in the hearts of the millions more left behind. The partners, the wives and husbands, the sons and daughters, and the mothers and fathers who bear the burden of going on without their loved ones. And remember, the fallen were first: a beloved son or daughter, a brother or sister, or a spouse, friend, or neighbor. For those of us who remain and have a voice, we must continue to recognize this important time. We must use our words and actions as a living testimony, honoring their memory, brave deeds, and courageous lives as the blessings they are. Our gratitude for their sacrifice is best expressed in how we live, even after they are gone. And in doing so, we recognize the ultimate sacrifice that makes all the other benefits of living in America possible. As Arthur Ashe once said, true heroism is remarkably sober, very undramatic. It is not the urge to surpass all others at whatever cost, but the urge to serve others at whatever cost. It's not about seeking personal glory, it is about selflessly serving. And that commitment to an ideal is the foundation that makes it possible to be a true patriot. Those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation did so with the knowledge that they were giving each of us a chance to serve others too. And that spirit of shared humility, of lifting one another up, lies at the heart of the true meaning of Memorial Day. So today, let us commit to giving back to this great nation and state in their loving memory. Let us commit to caring for their families who they have left behind. And let us remain committed to the country they loved, even when some in our country didn't love them back. May we forever remain committed to the freedom they fought and died for, acknowledging that freedom isn't free. And I will leave you with the words of President Abraham Lincoln from his Gettysburg Address. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. Those words have stood the test of time, and I hope they still resonate here today as a powerful reminder of the sacrifices made in defense of freedom and the importance of continuing the fight for a better future. So to our fallen, you are missed, you are loved, and you are still remembered. And to all who shared their lives and those of us who you have left in this life, we honor you today and every day. The nation and North Carolina will never forget your service. We are grateful. You are written in our hearts forever. So until we meet again, take your rest, knowing that we will stand the watch from here. Thank you for having me here today. May God bless our fallen, our troops, and all of their families, and may God bless these United States of America.
Thank you, Secretary Millett, for that very moving speech. It's an honor to present Jack McManus, who's the president of Vietnam Veterans of America, an organization that started in 1978, 93,000 strong across the United States. Jack is a resident of Western North Carolina. He's dedicated his career to the mission of taking care of those who served our country in peacetime and war. Ladies and gentlemen, a good friend and fellow veteran, United States Air Force, Vietnam, Jack McManus.
Good morning. Indeed, a pleasure to be here in the great mountains of Western North Carolina. Thank you very much for inviting me. I certainly appreciate this honor. Today is a fabulous day for all Americans. It's the day that we remember all those who fought and sacrificed for this great nation of ours. Across this country, people celebrate Memorial Day as the start of summer and a holiday. For those of us who served, it is a day of remembrance, and it is a day for us to remember and think about those who served with us and those who sacrificed and made the eternal sacrifice for this nation. If we look around here, we'll see the families of those folks that are buried here in this great cemetery. We'll see veterans from many different eras. We might even see a few school children out here. This is a great day for America. It's a day for us to concentrate and to think about all those great things that we just heard about that this nation is so famous for. The freedoms that we have, the ability for us to raise our families and practice our religions and go where we want to go, shop where we want to shop, speak what we want to speak when we're allowed to. But more so, it's a day that we reflect on those who really made the ultimate sacrifice for this country. Those who died in war and those who died after war. The American veteran is probably the smallest group of population left in America. In this time when people look to hyphenate everything that we are and what we stand for, they try to polarize us and make us think that we only can think one way. We have to remember that no matter what the hyphen is, those that we honor today were first and foremost American veterans. They sacrificed at times and places that weren't very convenient. They left their homes. We look now, it is less than 1% of our population serves in the defense of this nation. And it's likely that that population will not grow. During this time, it's very important for us to remember that not everybody came home. In the wars that we had prior to 9/11, we had a unique population called missing in action and prisoners of war who never returned. It is the goal of our country to make sure that that never happens again. I encourage everybody here to think on this day about those souls that have not yet come home and who we've not yet brought home, that are still missing in action and need to come home to the cradle of our nation. American veterans are unique. American veteran families are unique. Where the veteran serves or served, but the family sacrificed. So let us remember always the families of those who served and those who are serving today. God bless you and thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Jack. I'd like to acknowledge the city of Asheville who donates the videographer Josh Blake and Bo Hess, council member. I see Bo Hess here. Is the mayor here? Yeah, okay. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this ceremony. We appreciate it. Okay. We have some readings from a brothers and sisters like these veteran writing group. This group writes to heal the wounds of war. It's been operating in our area for over 10 years. And today we have a husband and wife team, Sarah Scully, United States Army, Iraq, and Don Scully, United States Army, Iraq, Afghanistan, who's a Purple Heart recipient. Sarah and then Don. Thank you.
Hey y'all, I am from Marshall, North Carolina, and I was a junior in college at UNC Asheville when 9/11 hit. I've been to a lot of funerals. We've lost more than 7,000 post 9/11 to combat, but a peek behind the curtain and you'll see that we've lost more than 30,000 to suicide since 2001. And that number is part of a larger number of all veterans, all eras, lost to suicide, 140,000 since 2001. Now, I've been to both combat veteran and what the Army calls non-combat related wounds. I've been to both of those funerals, and I can tell you that the soldiers line up and salute and align to the battlefield cross, no matter how they passed away, because they served and sacrificed. And their families served and sacrificed along with them. So this is not just for the parents and the spouses and the siblings, but the children. And that's what came to mind when it was time to write this. It's called the post 9/11 warrior generation. We live as soldiers, and if we're lucky, we live as veterans, until one day our stories fade away as our headstones age. Through it all, we serve our country, our beloved America, as a collective voice and reminder of honor and selfless service. One day, our children will take their children on a journey through this graveyard and tell our stories. And they'll also tell their stories, the collective voice of military kids born and raised through 20 years of wars after 9/11. Veterans like us are the post 9/11 generation of warriors. Kids like ours stand as the post 9/11 warrior generation. Our kids make up 4 different groups: millennials, Gen Z, Gen A, and the newest this year, Gen B. The millennials is children when 9/11 happened, and Gen B is the children born just this year to our youngest post 9/11 veterans, some who were in first grade when the towers fell. Our children and all children of veterans serve as honorary veterans who never volunteered for that military service, but they live it every day through their parents. A father with PTSD from combat, a mother with PTSD from military sexual trauma, or both. And it's a different type of death paid, a mourning of identity and loss and grief and innocence, struggling to adjust to the civilian world. Rallied to patriotic fervor from the horrific events of 9/11, something that happened before so many of our children were even born and had to learn about through history lessons. So many of us joined up, proud to wear the uniform. But our kids feel it every day, year after year of the seemingly never-ending wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Their childhood spent in subdivisions of mostly women and children, or sent to live with relatives as their parent went off to yet another deployment. Their teenage years grappling with their parents' mental health and their own secondary PTSD. Both the pride and the wounds of military service have ever-reaching roots, instilling valuable and worthy ideals with notes of caution. Let's learn from this young warrior generation of post-9/11 children. Listen to their cries, listen to their struggles, because they serve right alongside us with honor and personal courage. Just as veterans find each other in a crowd for comfort and security and belonging, so too do our military kids find each other naturally in school, relying on shared lived experiences and their own makeshift form of group therapy, identity, and belonging. Veterans have a quiet legacy that we pass down to the newest generation of newly deployed soldiers. From the Vietnam veterans who greeted us as we got off the plane back home to us as post 9/11 veterans, one day ready to greet the next wave of combat veterans back on American soil. But we see them first as they head off to war. Males and females draped in camo and loaded up with Kevlar, carrying their M16s to a wildly cheering crowd, waving them off with hugs and kisses and tears. But take another look at that crowd and the crowd here today. Our quieter legacy is that we all serve and sacrifice together. Our stories eventually fading away, only to be retold by our children to their children. Look, they'll say, it's Memorial Day. My grandpa served, my grandma served, my uncle served, my aunt served, my dad served, my mom served. And we all, veterans and our children, the post 9/11 warrior generation, we are all one collective voice ringing out the price paid for that sacrifice. And on days like Memorial Day, our kids understand in ways that children of civilians can never understand the importance of remembering the honor, selfless service, and personal courage of all veterans, because they live it too. Thank you.
I have served in two branches of service. 1993 to 1997, I served in the United States Navy, conducted 2 visitation boarding search and seizure operations in the Persian Gulf. Early 2001, I was in the Navy Reserve. Towers fell. I branch transferred from the Navy to the Army. 2002 to 2016, I served, and in those 14 years, I served 12 as a Special Forces Green Beret. I have 6 combat deployments. I've been to Iraq 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2010, and was in Afghanistan in 2012. I can tell you right now, through all of that, I am humbled to share this hallowed ground with each of you today. Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of our fallen, I am speaking to you today about sacrifice and service. Service is the act of giving up something you value for the sake of something else you regard as more important or worthy. And while, yes, we must all be prepared to make sacrifices in our daily lives, for service members, sacrifice is not just an action, it is an obligation. It is a tax that our hearts and minds pay every day. Sacrifice shapes our personality and separates us from worldly attachments. Aspects of our sacrifices include our sense of duty to the nation and the good of our unit over our individual comfort. It includes principles such as honor and courage and our insatiable need to protect the innocent. It is our loyalty to our brothers and sisters in arms over that of our own families. It's easy to group Memorial Day with the other public rituals of appreciation for those who serve or have served in uniform. Memorial Day is different. It is a day to honor our Gold Star families, whose banners have flown since World War I and signify to the community the sacrifice that that family has paid in the cause of freedom. It is a day we take a moment of silence at 3 p.m. to reflect on the bravery of the men and women who died serving our country. Deployments to Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, Iraq, and Afghanistan have ended relationships with families, partners, and friends. Military service involves constant sacrifices of physical and mental health, a deluge of life-altering emotional tolls, constant relocation, and income variability. Make no doubt, service in the military requires sacrifice and will oftentimes take more than you are prepared to give. My struggle to find personal meaning in Memorial Day is the same as many other veterans. I strive for a deeper understanding of the sacrifice made by those who have fallen, to be more nuanced and respectful than the often overblown narrative that makes everyone a hero. I seek to empathize with the families who have lost loved ones in war, to grasp the pride, heartache, love, and guilt that they carry. The willingness to sacrifice is rooted in the belief that something greater than oneself is worth defending. It is driven by duty, patriotism, and the belief in a higher purpose. Soldiers fight not for politicians in distant capitals, but for those with them to their left and to their right. The camaraderie formed between soldiers is often profound, where the survivor of our fellow soldiers takes precedence above all else. When it gets right down to it, we die protecting our friends. My own sacrifices include the damage inflicted on my body during service. After SF selection and assessment and multiple combat deployments, I required surgeries on both of my feet. Despite the plates and screws that are still in my feet, I deployed to combat 3 more times, fully aware that I was trading long-term physical comfort for the privilege of wearing my green beret. The mission of liberating the oppressed was bigger than me, and I embraced that sacrifice without hesitation. This uniform we wear is a symbol of honor, and only those who have worn it know the reality of what service means. But the symbol of honor, the defense of freedom, it is not just the responsibility of those in the military. Each of us shares in that duty. Serving, while never easy, is among the greatest callings in life. When we serve something greater than ourselves, we gain something invaluable in return. We gain a sense of purpose. Service erases selfish choices and challenges us to dedicate ourselves to something beyond personal gain. And while one day we will feel like outsiders looking in, those who choose not to commit to a purpose risk a life devoid of meaning. Our shared sacrifices forever bind those of us sitting, standing, or lying amidst this hallowed ground. Such is our juxtaposition. Service requires cost. What cost are you willing to pay? My service took from me my feet, my hips, my lower spine, my shoulders, my hearing, my abilities, my dreams, my memories, my time, my sacrifices, all and for my family. Yet history is shaped by those who are willing to sacrifice and respond to the needs of their fellow man. At the core of these men and women buried here today was the spirit of availability and love. Love not just for their nation, but of an idea that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Make no doubt, if ever there was an idea worth dying for, it is this. Today, on this Memorial Day, we gather to remember those who gave their lives defending our nation and the freedoms we hold dear. Their selfless acts of service remind us that liberty comes at a cost, and we must never take it for granted. The sacrifices made by our fallen are not just a somber reminder of our past, but a call to action for our future. We must continue to support our veterans, their families, and those currently serving in the armed forces. We speak of sacrifice and service. We are not merely talking about a moment in time, but of a commitment which extends beyond the battlefield. Our fallen put their lives on the line to stand against threats unseen and to protect the lives of those they've never met. Their sacrifice is not just a loss of life, but a testament to the unbreakable spirit that binds us together as a nation. Thank you.
I thought in the spirit of brothers and sisters like these, I would read a letter that never could be sent home to our mothers. It's called Dear Mama, Letter Home from Nam. Again, a letter that couldn't be written then, but it can be written today. Well, it seems a long time ago that I was back in the world. Vietnam has been a journey into a land and time that I was not familiar with. My unit, the 26th Casualty Staging Flight, one of the 3 casualty staging flights to take care of the wounded and evacuate them to destinations like the Philippines, Japan, and the U.S. My training as a medic supposedly prepared me for what I was going to do, but truth be told, as a 20-year-old, I'd be facing challenges psychologically and physically that would later define who I am. The wounded came from all areas of Nam, north, south, east, west. Whether it was shrapnel, RPG rounds, or being burned, the wounded faced fears that they never had experienced before. They asked me, why me? What was it all for? Who will live and who will die? I didn't have the answers. My job was to keep them alive, but help them cope with their suffering and be their initial beacon of light on their road to recovery. I do not remember their names, but I can see their faces and their wounds, especially the burned patients, the amputees, and those we kept alive in bird respirators. I had noticed later in my tour a change was happening. I couldn't put a finger on it. I found the young kid that went to Vietnam had lost his innocence and aged well beyond his years. The year in Vietnam, 1967 to 1968, taking care of those who bore in the battle, defined for me the rest of my life. Mama, you often wondered what happened to me. I was unable to answer that question. All you saw was an angry man. On my journey through the last 54 years, I have discovered, like other Vietnam veterans, what was behind that emotion of anger, sadness, guilt, loss, and betrayal. Mama, I'm at peace now with my Vietnam. Rest in peace, your loving son, Allan. Thank you. Okay, now we have 3 memorial wreaths to be presented. One by Ted Minnick, Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 124. Chapter 124 is the oldest chapter in the state of North Carolina, Ted Minnick. And then Gold Star families will be represented by Ann Atkins, who lost her son in Iraq. And then Brittany Myers, who represents the Wreath for Veterans. Would you please come and present your wreaths? Thank you. Could you please stand? We will be doing the 21 gun salute, American Legion, Post 317, followed by taps and Amazing Grace by John Glenn. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending today's ceremony. May you have a safe and blessed day, and see you next year. Be well. Yo.